This week's news from the tubes on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by Malwarebytes. Whether you use a PC, a Mac, or a mobile device, Malwarebytes Premium is the company's strongest protection ever. It fights threats that traditional antivirus software can't stop, plus, it actively blocks threats like worms, rogues, dialers, trojans, spyware, and a whole lot more. It allows you to use your computer and mobile devices with confidence and peace of mind. To learn more and to get a special price, you can go to f5live.tv/malwarebytes. All right, we don't usually talk about hardware in this section, but we're going to talk a little bit about hardware. In particular, the cables that most people don't know that exist that run under the sea to power the internet in places that are not here in the US. They are giant fiber optic bundles that can carry a lot of data. They are the primary hubs between locations. And there are an increasing number of problems with it. Over the last couple of weeks, there have been some attacks, actual physical attacks on undersea cables in Europe. They are currently believed to have been Russian attacks. There have been cases where entire Russian Navy fleets have been seen in and around the areas of these undersea cables. There is new technology that has been developed by China that is said to be for undersea mining, but any technology that's created has a good use and a bad use. The bad use in this case is that it could easily cut through these heavily fortified undersea cables, cutting sections of the world off from the internet. We have seen these cables break. We've seen these cables get attacked in the past, and it has created giant blackouts. Fortunately, the internet, by its very nature, is redundant, and so there are multiple ways to get to the same place on purpose. But a strategic coordinated attack could be a problem, and mistakes could be a problem. Right? There is the possibility of accidentally breaking these. There was a ship 7 or 8 years ago, I think, that was dragging something and caught in one of the cables and damaged it and knocked out internet to part of the world. So there's more and more focus on this part of the internet because they are to go back to a very old story that Avram brought us 15 years ago or something. There was the BlackBerry outage because everything routed through BlackBerry's servers and something went wrong at BlackBerry and everybody couldn't make phone calls or send emails or texts or any of that for several days, and that was kind of the end of BlackBerry. This is the internet's Achilles heel. And I don't know, short of completely redesigning how the internet works, Avram, I don't know what could be done about this.
Not much. I mean, make more cables, have
Increase the
more
redundancy.
redundancy,
Yeah.
increase redundancy. How about satellite?
Yeah. We're getting to a point where satellite speeds are probably doable, certainly as like a secondary, a fallback system.
But on the other hand, we're gonna really love these undersea cables even more if we end up with the what's it called, the Kepler effect. Um, like that's a bigger danger, where basically you can no longer have satellites because there's so much space junk.
Uh-huh.
So we could end up in a situation where we can no longer have satellites because there's so much space junk.
Right. Somebody
Uh,
just announced, I think it was Japan, that they've built a thing that they can start knocking them out of the sky, the dead ones.
well, that's good, but yeah, there's. It's not. I mean, there have been situations where certain countries blew up satellites, and then just the fragments or whatever are extremely dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's too many fragments of space junk in the sky, then you couldn't maintain any satellites in orbit,
Right.
and then every satellite for every use basically would be would be done. And
Yeah.
GPS, everything we rely on satellites for, would be over on Earth.
Yeah.
So
Not great.
we're gonna really need the cables. I mean,
It's an
or
interesting pairing. It's an interesting pairing of problems, right? Because if if a couple of strategic satellites went sideways on us, they could damage a lot as well, right? So you've got
yeah,
these two weird technical Achilles heels, one for internet and one for everything else.
yeah. I mean, it's. I mean, technology. We assume it's just going to work, but there is a lot of things, physical things in the physical world that make it work,
Mm-hmm.
and it
And
can be disrupted.
a lot of it is a little bit more like rubber bands and chewing gum than I think people realize. Uh, like
Right.
just on barely on the verge of not working at any given moment. Because
Right. Well,
you could knock out an entire continent's internet by cutting a couple of undersea fiber optic cables. Yikes! Right? It's
yeah.
it's a little bit more MacGyvery and crossing our fingers and hoping it keeps working than most people really understand.
Yeah. I mean, so, or we could try to work toward world peace so we don't have people trying to destroy these cables. Um, but
True
I
enough.
guess that might be asking too much.
Well, we still got to worry about the aliens, so space
I mean,
not foreign.
bec- because they don't seem like something that you like. Everything you've described sounds like you have to be a state actor to do this, or you have to
Yeah.
be operating. Like, it's not. You're not going to get like a lone wolf terrorist going to dive under sea to cut the cable.
Only once that I'm aware of.
Right.
A
So
lone wolf did do it. It wasn't a terrorist attack, but it was an individual. It was the cargo ship that was dragging a thing and was able to damage the cable enough to knock out internet for a while. So it is possible that a non government actor could be responsible for a small one, but yeah, for anything coordinated, it would have to be governmental.
right. So you know, it's. I mean, everybody has I mean, I guess we're not doing that these days, but everybody has a shared interest in the internet working.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so it would be nice if everyone remembered that. But everyone
Indeed.
also has a shared interest in not having a nuclear winter. Everyone also has a shared interest in having secure borders and international trade and things like that. So, um, so I don't know, but if countries are acting in their own best interest, they would not try to destroy the internet.
Right.
Um, they could just
Agreed.
censor it and fill it full of propaganda, like it is now.
Indeed. Hooray, Baidu. Anyway, uh,
Yeah.
no worries. There's no way this show ever based in China. Anyway, yeah, the internet continuing to work, because especially when you take into consideration that cutting the underseas cable is not going to indirectly, because there's stuff housed outside of the U.S., but doesn't directly affect us. So, if an actor is trying to affect us, to come after us, that's not really the way to do it, right? Satellites might be, but the underseas cable isn't the way to come after us. But still, it is in our best interest to make sure the entire thing continues to work. NATO is who's in charge of protecting these things, I guess, which I didn't realize. Seems like a surprising organization. I guess we believe that only Russia would go after them, which, in fairness, to the best of my knowledge, all the state actor attacks on these have been from Russia, so maybe it makes sense. But it would be devastating. I guess my point is, it would be devastating less to us and more to them themselves, right? Because
Yes.
they'll be severing themselves. Nothing that happens is going to knock us off the internet, because it's here, right? All of the central processing hub is in our continent. So knocking out the underseas cables doesn't directly affect us. Yes, it means that servers and stuff that aren't here get cut off from us, but it would be more devastating to the actors who do it, I feel, than it would be,
Right.
I don't know, to the global hegemon. But apparently it's something that is being actively watched right now, because just in the last couple of weeks there have been, I think, five attacks on these underseas cables. So we'll be keeping an eye on it, because it's not great, because a bunch of the stuff that you access on the internet is not here. There are several British companies that I interact with regularly just in prepping this show or producing the show. So, it would be interesting, but like you said, Avram, kind of it's in everybody's best interest not to mess with it. So hopefully nothing of any major scale will happen, but also hopefully more focus will be put on keeping them protected. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to PLUGHITZlive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.